So we move on to our next poet. And this is Lucilla Trapazzo from Italy and Switzerland. She's a poet, translator, artist, and performer. After years spent abroad for study and work, she now divides her time between Switzerland, Italy, and New York City. Though I suppose that she will tell you that she has of late uh, stopped visiting New York City, stopped coming to the States. She has 6 books of poetry, widely known for her wonderful work. And Lucilla, I'm really glad that you are able to make time to come and share your work with us. The stage is yours, the screen is yours.
Hi, hello, thank you. Thank you for the warm presentation. I will read a poem in this time. I decided to read a poem that talks about women and war. And I'm talking about 4 different women in different moments of history and in different places. I will read first in English and then in Italian, my own language, so that you can also listen to the sound of the language in Italian. When history was happening, I wasn't there. Yet I remember a pair of mismatched sandals, orphaned on the rock, alongside a name. A kilometer ahead, a torn hat with a blue ribbon. Brief traces of existence to piece together like a puzzle in the village square, like in every square, like in every time, hidden within the memories of stone. I wasn't there yet. I remember Rachel, blue gaze, a floral scarf beneath the heavy sky, clutching a ravaged chest with her nails in the barrack, number 5. I remember Sabra under another sky, singing ancient letters, speaking of love, rubbing argan oil into her hair before the shadow branded her voice. In another time, old Aunt Nannina was preparing for sleep. The night they defied her best apron folded and a pillow over her heart. Irina caressed herself gently when on Partizanskaya Prospect, footsteps of death feasted upon her name. Who still mourns the scars of outrage, vanish one by one beyond the gardens, dissolved into the fog of denial. When all of this is over, you won't remember their names. When all of this is over, we will remember every name written in blood on fine linen sheet, on windowsills, in corners, wrapped in shrouds. We will stitch the wounds back together. I wasn't there, but I remember, with a fistful of paper in my mouth, a song long lost, today, as long ago, and now the original version. Quando la storia accadeva, io non c'ero, eppure ricordo un paio di sandali spaiati, orfani, sulla roccia insieme al nome. 1 chilometro più avanti, un cappello sventrato con un nastro blu. Brevi segni di esistenza da tracciare come un puzzle nella piazza del paese, come in ogni piazza, come in ogni tempo, nascosti dal racconto delle pietre. Io non c'ero, eppure ricordo di Rachele lo sguardo azzurro con fazzoletto a fiori sotto il cieco cupo. Stringeva con le unghie il petto deflorato nella baracca numero 5. Ricordo Sabra sotto un altro cielo che cantava versi antichi che dicevano d'amore strofinandosi i capelli con l'argan. Prima che l'ombra le marchiasse il suono, si preparava al sonno, zi Nannina, in un altro tempo, la notte che le fecero la festa, col mantesino buono e il cuscino sotto il cuore. Irina invece si accarezzava piano, quando sulla prospettiva partisanska cingoli di morte pasteggiarono col nome. Chi piange ancora i segni dell'ingiuria, andati a uno oltre il giardino, evaporati nella nebbia della biura. Quando tutto questo finirà, Voi non ricorderete il nome quando tutto questo finirà. Noi ricorderemo tutti i nomi incisi con il sangue sulle lenzuola buone, alle finestre, negli angoli, avvolti nei suoi diari. Ricuciamo le ferite. Io non c'ero, ma ricordo, con un pugno di carta in bocca, una canzone andata oggi, come tanto tempo fa. Thank you. Grazie.
Again, deeply grateful to you for being a part of this festival. We move on next now to another poet with an international reach, and that is Sukrita Paul Kumar. Sukrita Paul Kumar. She was born in Kenya, has published several collections of poems, translations, and critical books. Her most recent collections of poems are Yellow, Salt and Pepper, and Vanishing Worlds. She was an invited poet at the International Writing Program, University of Iowa, and a poet in residence in Hong Kong. You should read the full bios of all these poets in the chat link that has been provided. I only have time to give you very brief introductions here. But Sukrita, deeply grateful again to you also for being here and participating in the event. Please take the screen.
Thank you very much, Bacchus. I appreciate the whole idea of organizing a session like this and several of them at the same time. I noticed that all the 3 poems that I selected to read out today are somehow the kind of trigger of the idea of loss. And the first poem that I'm going to read, Char Chinar, The Trees of Kashmir, again is really a kind of a lament over the loss of 4 chinar trees, which were on an island. And once when I go back to Kashmir, I discovered that they are no longer there. So here you are. There's a poem to that effect. The gray folds in white clouds swallow the mountains in their white robes. They sweep multiple horizons in their miasma. Rain and sunshine, love and hate merge into misty veils. The 4 chinars on the little island were whirling dervishes in frenzy, singing their swan song. They collapsed in a heap. Their ghosts rise to home in fog, showering blessings. I float lost on the lake in search of my absent kith and kin, the Char Chinars. The second poem came to me after the loss of my mother, and I call it Afterlife. One early morning, on the new leaf of a branch emerging from your favorite sunset pink of the hibiscus plant, sat a baby butterfly, stunning and still in the veranda, quiet and alert as you were in your lifetime, nearly blind. In recent times, your ears always perked up. You were a happening person. The red bureau, beauty that it is, offers a glimpse of life after life. The third one is actually just an image that drew this poem out of me, an image on the television screen, a war on the war front. It's called Teddy Bear on the War Front. This was a scene from Ukraine. Teddy Bear, the survivor, sat presiding over the rubble of civilization, a debris of fun and play. Teddy sat over the cat's skeleton with bones in the pattern of a curled cadaver. Couches and cushions in smithereens, missiles shredding homes, screams shearing the walls, throats as nozzles shooting shards. Teddy bear, the lone survivor, with no arm around him, the skin jellied, his gaze fixed on the carnage. White round buttons gyrate in unseeing eyes. Teddy's fur spiked in shock, unyielding bristles puncture a million hearts into frothies, oceans, salty. Tsunami of teddy bears march into the war zone in search of toddlers. Thank you, Agus. This is over.
We will move on to our next poet, and this is Ilona Yusuf from Pakistan. And once again, a poet who does some very interesting follows some very interesting artistic pursuits as well. She's a designer, printmaker, editor, and poet. In fact, just last year, she published an anthology of the 21st century Pakistani poets in English. It has been reviewed with great appreciation, again, in several countries in the world. She is an exquisite poet, obviously, in her own right. And I'm, again, truly privileged to say this, that she is joining us for this event and will share her poems with us. So Ilona, this screen is yours.
So both these poems are really dedicated to my mother. The first one is called To Commit to Memory. My mother began her life in Poland and then became a refugee as a very young child. Then eventually moved to England and then got married and came to Pakistan, where she died. So this one is called Commit to Memory. Commit to memory that summer, the length of it in days, miles. That summer of your fading, winter of grief. You gave me, Mum, Mamcha, mother, inheritor of Pola, rolling fields, grey-shaded sky, low against breaking sun, black earth, acacia, cherry, a season of rice. Flying down from the plateau, undulant roads lined with eucalyptus, fresh-limbed, wet white gleaming, into Punjab's paddies. He who took my telephone, if he'd opened my albums, would he have divined their pattern of loss? Those pictures a cataloguing, planting to harvest, that I would scroll for you. That mind map, severed, pictures not looked at, but comfort in their existence, glimpsed, stored, lost. In that time of no breath, time of breath truncated, time of driving, time of rice, still images of blazing intensity. Women, shalwars raised, rhythmic bend, dip, anchor, rise, spots of color heightened against gray mirror fields, white bordered with egrets. Shallow ponds, wide-spaced rows of seedlings, pale green, water changing color with the time of day, glass gray, orange, green, patterned with cloud from reflected sky. And on one journey, a woman, tall, erect, hand on hip, wide white bangles all the way up her bronzed arm, Harappan dancer, red choli, ghagra silhouetted against green. Then the seedlings, higher, thicker, wider, ripples expanding slow around them, breaking cloud pattern, color. Water, crystal in thick jets from tube wells, channeling into ever-thickening green, white green, pale against grey monsoon sky. Green ocean unfurled, unending, ahead, around, behind, against which egrets wing, cutting through dense air. Black legs streamed straight against their bodies. And your eyes, ocean blue, sky blue, ice blue, in the white, thin-drawn face burned fierce the evening we sang those old songs, sibilant with consonants soft sliding, a language familiar, abandoned, recognition from a roundy well in a time of forgetting. Until harvest, straw-colored fields hazy in winnowing, smoke from black-burnt stubble. In the eerie physicality of grief, as if a pendulum had swung inside a strange wave of nausea, to be blown off one's axis. As if a window had cracked clean through its center, marking the place of then, a continuum of life. Now, it's severing. Bury my face in white sheets like sails in an end summer breeze. So that's the first poem. The second poem is also about my mother, and it's word/memory. Line, curve, elements that join, intersect, elegant architecture, form. Interstice, energy jostling, bending, curving line, containing word, language. Iridescent, sparkling, as fish leaping from water, scales aflash with light. Words, spoken, married with the deep well of the eye, love. Chemistry, alchemy of substances altered in their coupling, turning on themselves in strange mutations, terrible clash of wanton compounds coursing through limb, heart, spleen. Did you know you would become the shadow of your own life? Words eliding on a tongue too slow to catch them, tripping, sliding away, dissolving, retrieving them, dimly perceived through deep fog. Where language encompasses, when my mother, 81, indomitable, small, thin, with her now slow, uneven walk, peered at the Parthian coins in the darkening display cases through the light of the guide's torch in a room of the museum hall in Taxila, an exclusive treat. As the lights went out, patient, he held the beam against each case as he explained their inscriptions. And she said to him, eyes holding him, "Thank you. They are very beautiful. I studied Latin and Greek, you know. That was my first degree." With no emphasis, expression incomprehensible to any but those close to her, who hold the key to this most simple of sentences, belonging in a place flung far from here in another time. The sudden, keen certainty that it is all gone. Life has passed by. Thank you.